Hi everyone, today I'm going to be playing Midnight Legion, Operation Deep Sleep, and this is just a message just at the start of the game to say this is a story-based game. It's an evolution of a choose-your-own-adventure kind of thing, but it is very heavily story-based, and so this playthrough it's not going to be very long, it's not going to be the whole thing, but it's going to contain big spoilers. Like, even the pictures and things can be spoilers to puzzles. So if you would like to avoid all spoilers, then I'll put a link here for the review, which is going to be very spoiler free. But if you're okay with spoilers, then I'll give you a little bit of a chance and then we will get started. So, if you're still here, I assume that you are okay seeing a few spoilers, because I don't want to, even if you want to see spoilers, I don't want to show very many. So, when you get the Midnight Legion, you get this box set, if I can open it, and it includes a map, which is a spoiler, but this is the spoiler video, so we're okay there. But we are not allowed to look at that until the story tells us we can see it. Then we get the actual book itself, the book number 1, Operation Deep Sleep, and this is part of a trilogy, so there's going to be 2 more books continuing the story from this. And you can see the lovely art on all of these books and the box cover and everything. And you get the memory and rulebook, and it's going to tell you how to play. And throughout the course of the game, you will unlock memories, and you come to this book to find those. And you also get some lovely little custom dice, which are a little bit strange to look at first, but you get used to which number's which. And they are just some character sheets I've printed. There are character sheets in the back of the memory book and at the front of each of the books. Well, I assume each of the books. This one's got a couple in there, but I have scanned some in and I've got one ready here that I can use because we are going to be creating a character and then taking him through a few steps of the story. I'm not sure how much to do because usually I love to do full playthroughs of games so you can see what it's like all the way through. But for this, it's so based in the story that if I played all the way through it, there wouldn't be much left for you to pick it up yourselves and try it out. So, to create a character, we just need to run through the character sheet here, and it's not going to be a character that I'm going to be that devoted to, but let's just get started. So I need a name for the character, so he will be Robocop. And then I am Tom, the player name. Right, hopefully this is coming through. It's just a little scan on my cheap little printer, so it's a little bit more faded than it is in the book. You can see, you saw when I showed the book earlier, it's quite nice in there, but you do get quite a few, but, you know, keep things nice and everything. So vitality is your hit points, basically. You get 10 of those, and I would start with 10. Energy, you also get 10. Energy is used for a few different things. And then we're going to start off with 5 physical conditioning, stealth, and sixth sense. And in addition to 5 on each of those, you get 5 more points to split how you wish. So, I think I'm going to put 3 of those 5 into physical conditioning. So I'm going to start with 8. And then let's put 1 into stealth and 1 into sixth sense. So these are going to determine how we're going to make choices, basically. This guy's going to be quite good at fighting, but average at stealth and sixth sense. Stealth will be when we're trying to evade things. Sixth sense is, sometimes it will give you options that are sixth sense and it will affect the end result. But sixth sense is usually a skill that you can use at certain points to look at some of the options in the book. So memory points, we don't start with any of them. We start with no meals. The only equipment we have is our fitted yellow agent uniform, and we don't start with anything else on there. We come to it all later. There's no need to really go in deeply on what's going on. So I will just skip past the rules in here, and let's just get started. Again, huge spoilers, so if you want to avoid spoilers, it's the review that is spoiler free. So we can go to page number 1. And I can get that nice and in the center there. And you can see we have a lovely illustration to start us off with. So, number 1, you wake up on your back. There is firm plastic beneath you and a metallic chemical smell in the air. You open your eyes and shut them again quickly against the stinging light. You feel your breath in your throat shallow and ragged, as if your lungs are trying to relearn how to breathe. You open your eyes again, more slowly this time, and blurry shapes resolve into recognizable objects around you. You are lying on a medical bed connected to tubes. When you turn your head, your skull throbs and the room starts spinning. You instinctively clutch the sides of the bed until the vertigo subsides. You have no idea where you are. Worse, you have no idea who you are. That's when you realize there are voices in the room with you. The agent is awakening, says a male voice near your ear. Good, says a female voice across the room. We have at least one survivor. See how much it knows. You feel as though you should recognize the speakers, but more insistently you try to grasp your memories the more swiftly they recede. Gain 10 memory points. And this is where we can go onto the character sheet and write down that we've got 10 memory points. And by the way, I would normally do this in pencil. I just want to make sure that these things show up on the camera. So, we're lying on this bed, and we can get up, lie still, or ask the voices for answers. So I think we mean business. Let's get up. So now I flick to 503, and we can see now. You clamber to your feet and immediately crash into a tray of medical gear. A hook holding up the tray slices open your forearm. Someone or something takes you by the legs and beneath your arms and lifts you easily back onto the table. The figure that moves you is still blurry, but now your eyes are having an easier time focusing on the high-tech medical equipment all around you. As you stare at it, a memory flits through your mind just out of reach. So I lose a vitality point, and I can either collect my wits or ask the voices for answers. So I am on 9 vitality now. And I think it's time for answers. Let's go to 562. As your vision returns, you identify the source of one of the 2 voices you've been hearing. A robot with multiple arms is hovering in the air beside you. It is the medical attendant you now recall. 10 more memory points, and then I can ask him a question, if I want to. So I've now got 20 memory points, and these will be used to recall memories and try and remember who we are, or maybe give us some helpful advice as to the situation we find ourselves in. So, I think it would be very nice to ask questions, but I mean business. So I'm going to grab a medical device for self-defense and leap off the table. Number 15. I've never chosen this path before. You seize a forceps and leap to your feet. The attendant bot gently but firmly removes the instrument from your hands. You still appear to be suffering from disorientation, it says. Turn to 512. The robot attendant, it's called Medibot A45, you remember suddenly, applies what looks like a beam of blue light to your body. Your muscles relax and you feel your energy returning. Now that you can focus, you scan the room. You are in a large circular chamber with 2 exits and gleaming white walls. You look for something to orient yourself and see that the doors are labelled N and E, north and east. Most intriguing, a row of coffin-sized glass pods lining the wall to your left. The cover of one of the pods is standing open, its convex surface reflecting the illuminated ceiling tiles. Above each closed pod is a small green light. The attendant tells you that the facility has been breached. You are an android, it says. You have been reactivated from stasis early to assist in the base's defense. The Medibot explains that because you have been rushed awake, your memories have not had the chance to complete their download. But you may still have dormant memories, and those can return over time, it assures you. An instant later, there is an explosion in the north side of the room. The blast momentarily blinds you and hits your eardrums like a hammer, a flash grenade. When you can hear again, there is a hissing, chittering sound coming from the direction of the smoke. You realise whatever creature is making this noise is speaking in a strange but almost intelligible language. 10 points. So we're now at 30 memory points. That could unlock some serious knowledge if we ever come across it. And now I have the option. Flee before the smoke clears. Grab a makeshift weapon and stand your ground, search the room quickly, and then flee. And there's Sixth Sense here, so this gives me a chance to show you what Sixth Sense is. Whenever this comes up, you can make a Sixth Sense check, and any kind of skill checks in the game, you look at your skill value, and you would roll 2 dice and hope to roll under your skill value. You can choose to spend up to 2 energy points to add to your skill value to make it a little bit easier to roll. But if I wanted, I could try a Sixth Sense check, and I have rolled 7 there, so unfortunately, without spending energy, you have to decide to do that before, by the way. Without spending energy, I fail at that skill check, and it costs me 1 energy to try to do it. I can, on the other hand, just keep trying, but I think I'll leave that for now. What Sixth Sense would do, if I had succeeded, is let me pick 2 of these options and flick to these paragraphs and see what the result would be and kind of give me some advanced knowledge, a sixth sense of what might happen to me, and then I can pick any of the 3 options still. But I think it's time to, let's stand our ground and try and show off some combat. Grab a makeshift weapon and stand your ground. 380. Here we go. You grab a laser scalpel from the medical tray just as a group of warriors emerges from the smoke. They are rats, sharp-eyed, human-sized rats walking upright on stout hind legs. Rats wearing clothes and wielding clubs. Gain a laser scalpel. And this adds none to our combat points and does 1 damage. Turn to 104 for a battle. So we have found some evolved looking rats. So I can turn to 104. So I would write on here that I have this scalpel now. And it does no CP and 1 damage. And we will find out what that means right now, because there's some combat. So 2 rats attack you while the others destroy the Medibot, the medical computer, and the room's equipment. So you are fighting 2 rats. Now combat works similarly to the skill checks. So we take my physical conditioning, add 2 dice from a roll, and whatever combat point bonus my weapon would give me. So I would roll now, and I have 8 plus 6, 14, 17 is my roll. For the rats, for the enemy, you roll 1 dice and add their combat points, which is 8. But you roll an additional die for the second rat man each round until you have killed one. So it's basically very similar to mine now. We're just going to have to hope that they roll worse. So 8 plus whatever this roll is, because there's 2 rats to fight. And no, I haven't done it. So I rolled a total of 14. They have 8, 40. Oh, I had 17, didn't I? They have 14, 19. So they do damage to me. And if we look at their stats, they both do a damage each. So I am going to take 2 damage. And we can see that I can only hit 1 antagonist, but both can hit me. So if I lose another VP, I'm going to have to flick to another page in the storybook. In combat, I can choose to spend up to 3 energy extra, and that, in the same way as a skill check, it adds to my total, but also it will add to the damage if I actually hit. But we can see that these rat men only need 1 damage to kill them, so I think I'm just going to risk it again. So 8 plus, a bad roll, 8 plus 5. So I have 13 in total, and the rats have 14. I was so close. So they have hit me again. Well, I didn't say I was going to show off successful combat. So if you lose 3 VPs before both rat men are killed, you are knocked unconscious and left for dead. So when you come to, the room is empty. The Medibot is a lifeless heap of metal and plastic on the floor beside you. The medical computer it was speaking to when it first awoke has been destroyed, its monitors shattered, and electricity sparkling from its exposed components. The pods along the western wall are open. The first, the one you apparently once occupied, is empty. In each of the others, a dead android sags in its harness and coil of hoses, a victim of the rat's heavy clubs. There is a door in the opposite wall, but it's sealed. From behind the northern door, you hear the sound of more rat men approaching. Knowing you are still too unsteady to hold out against them, you sneak out through a duct in the ceiling. You crawl forward through the duct. Without any memories and the Medibot gone, you feel isolated and lost. You crave information, recollections, anything to fill the void of your past. Yet there are some things you're already learning about yourself. By the assurance of your movements, your instinctive speed and control, you know you were designed for stealth and combat. As you think back on the battered Medibot and the dead agents in their pods, you recognize that your creators also programmed you with the capacity for anger. Soon another great vertical this time blocks your way. It doesn't budge. Fortunately, you are able to pry off a panel from the ceiling below you and drop down into the passageway. So 10 more memory points there. No way to spend them yet. And we go to 485. Okay, you have arrived at the intersection of 2 passageways, and this is a really cool part of the game, insights. You see at the bottom of the character sheet here, there are insights to check off with different letters and numbers, and If I have insight G, roll a d6 immediately. If you roll a 1 or 2, turn to this page. So that would be a choice I made or a thing I found. Something would have happened to cause this insight to happen, and whatever it is needs me to roll a dice and do something worried. So I can go west, east, south, head in the direction of the Medichamber, climb up to the passage above, and return to the Medichamber. So I can spend 10 memory points to help me decide and access memory too. So these memory points I've been storing up, I could cross 10 of them off, circle number 2, and go and look at it in the book. And this would give me some information about the room I'm in and the things that I can do. So let's just go south and see what happens. 434. You come upon what once was a double doorway. Now, the doors are gone and you can barely make out a shadowed cavernous space beyond the opening. Let's enter that door. I could use Sixth Sense again there to find out which ones would be better for me if I could succeed the check. You enter a long, dimly lit chamber. The room feels familiar, and for a moment, you remember being surrounded by other agents as you strode across the tiled floor. Then the memory is gone. Along the eastern wall to your left is a row of sealed, body-sized glass pods similar to the pods in the Medichamber where you were reactivated. On the far side of the room, facing you, the ragged entrances of 2 tunnels have been torn into the walls, one in the southwestern corner and the other due south. Both tunnels look like they have been carved out by the same primitive tools, whatever those might have been. When you walk forward, more details emerge from the gloom. Another doorway stands next to the pods. A row of lockers is set against the western wall. If this is the first time you have entered this room, 221. As you look around the room, memories stir in your mind, but they dissolve like mirages whenever you try to focus on them. So I get another 10 memory points, and then I go to 118. Which is, here we go, you survey the room around you. If you have insight G, roll a thing immediately. So that would be another thing, another choice that I've made, another thing that I've found. And then we can decide to approach the lockers, investigate the pods and things. But I think I'll leave it there, because we are about to get into finding some interesting things in there. I just wanted to show kind of what some of the things were, the skill checks and the insights and the memories as well that you find in here. Like certain ones will give you help, like it said, if you want some advice on where to go, then you can try and recall the memory and remember what things are. Or sometimes you will come to a pivotal story moment and something will click in your brain and you will go to the memory and rulebook. And that is kind of a basic view of what's going on in Operation Deep Sleep, the Midnight Legion Book 1. If you would like to know what I think, then you can click on the link and see me talk about it to a camera. Well, to you. And otherwise, thanks for watching, and I will see you for the next game. Bye.